Wusa Collective 1. This is a reading for a collective who is being completely redirected in their life right now. The cards to come out first were the Fool card. So again, a completely new beginning here. You might be a little bit hearing untamable for a time. Or you just might be a little bit shaky in your footing because it's all new. But we have a massive tower that you're undergoing right now, and the air felt foggy and smoky and confused and frustrated. There's some anger here. There might be some drama involved. We also have the Empress card as well, and beneath her, the Nine of Wands. This could very well be a couple, okay? So we got King of Wands to the Nine of Wands to the Empress. Or this could be a progression of energy within yourself that you're from some path that you were on. Now, it's funny because we have underneath that the Page of Wands. I get the sense that some of you guys were on a path, and take what resonates with this. Maybe you received a message, or maybe you were on a path that you thought was going to be long term, and it ended up being an ending, a complete destruction of something, a complete collapse of something, in specifically living situations and relationships. Those are the two things that I'm getting across the board for this collective are most common, but take what resonates. It could also involve a career, but I'm a little bit less of a career, and mostly housing and relationships. So you're being completely redirected in some aspect of your life right now. Your challenge is not that you aren't able to access your feminine energy as much as how you access it or how you work with it. And I think what's interesting here is I heard someone last night, this reminds me of something that I was writing last night. I heard someone say something about taking accountability, and I hear so often life coaches and healers and people who work in like mental health advocacy and counseling and stuff say, harp on accountability, but not responsibility. Harp on accountability from a stance of you need to let this go, you need to let that thing go, or what are you hanging on to? It was more so that it was what are you holding on to that you need to let go of. And this feels like it's less of you hanging on. I think it's obvious what you were, if you were hanging on to something in a situation, a home or a person, that would make sense. Like there's obviously some benefit to that in some way. But that is being faced right now. It's obvious that that's being faced. Is less of what do you need to let go of, and rather what do you need to see where your responsibility lies that you weren't seeing. There's an aspect of your feminine energy that calls something in. There's a way in which you use your feminine energy that is creating something or covering something up. That's what you're being called to face, because that thing is just kind of sitting in it's like looming, or it's just kind of there beneath the surface, swept under the carpet maybe, and it's not being faced. Now for this is going to be different for everyone, but it might not be as direct and obvious as you think. So it gives me the sense that right now you're being guided to really sit in your feelings and think less, but rather let the answer come to you. What is this tied to that I'm not seeing? And when you see that thing that you need to take responsibility for, not to harp on your shamefulness, not to harp on its neglect, but when you see that thing for what it is, you feel it, you gain clarity from it, and you move forward with that expanded perspective. This is how Jupiter and Cancer is going to affect this collective. More reflection on your emotions. Because again, there is something either clouding that ability to reflect. It could be how you were being housed, what you were doing to house yourself. Like if it's the housing situation, how hard you were working to keep that home, the neighborhood it was in, the people living in the house, whatever it is. The amount of money, do you know what I'm saying? Or if it's a relationship, what is that relationship complicate? What is this house built on? What is this relationship built on? Go deeper. When you feel those emotions, when you allow yourself to get into those emotions, that's where your reflection lies. That's where the key to the next door is. The door's open though, is what I'm getting, the portal rather. The portal is open, but what you want, you might have to gain a key to access that door. So the portal is open, the passage is open. Obviously, we just had a destruction of one timeline for you. So now what comes next? And this is probably one of those times where you want to hear that the least. You don't want to hear somebody say, you need to sit and feel your feelings right now, because you're probably panicked on the logistics of something and the practicality of how you get to your next step. And you feeling these feelings in their fullest is going to give you the true answer, rather than a short-term answer that leads to another problem and another problem and another problem. So, with that being said, let's get into your reading. Leave these cards out. Put this here. You feel constantly tested by something. I'm hearing, why are they constantly testing me? Why are they constantly doing this? Why are they constantly doing that? There's something about what is refereeing your reality, what is challenging it, what is trying to play middleman, and not what are they doing. Don't even think about it. Well, not completely don't think about their intentions, but it's less about their intentions and more about what are they refereeing? How are they involved? And what is that changing for you? Why is it frustrating you? How are you being called to see it through new eyes? There is so much fire energy in this collective. There's this desire to go, 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 go. And when I first pulled cards on it, there was something that was very like, almost like Doja Cat, like very spicy and like baddie type energy. But then it was like by a tower. So there is something here that, again, there could be a tower still underway, rolling in, or this could be something that just recently happened after you were in a really good place, and it's just like, whoa, now what? This is offering you something whether you see it or not. I think right now you see it as a stab in the back or the final sword, or just like a full stop. It's like, I was on my path. Like there's something here that's like, what did I do wrong? What's the problem here? Why is this such an issue? Why won't it keep going? And there's something in your adamancy that you are learning. Balance, developing balance around. Something you stand up for, something you stand on, something you speak on, some way that you express yourself. It feels like is something that's overindulgent, something, I don't want to say extra because I don't want that to seem derogatory. It's almost like you don't need this thing. It's not really part of your path. So maybe it's a crutch in some aspect. I think this is separate from the housing situation of the person. So this would be part of your personality, how you show up, how you express yourself, something you feel is necessary to have or to use, you know, but you don't need it. There's something about getting to the meat and bones of something, and specifically who you are, that allows you to sit on this throne without needing to do so much. And that's the key. It's like maybe you're doing too much. And there's something about the timing that you're like, I don't care. I don't care. I need an answer. I need an answer now. 4 of Cups. I don't care. But you will, if you could see where this is headed. Or rather, you would, if you could see where this is headed, is what I'm getting. Yeah, 7 of Cups, 5 of Cups. These illusions of timing, of time itself. There's illusions around time that are holding you back right now, that have you focus on the wrong things. And again, I would be very, very mindful of how you scramble right now. Try not to scramble, try not to do anything too fast or do too much to make something happen. Has so much more to do with your ability to flow, but you can't flow with boulders in your path. And that is what is beneath the surface. There's like boulders here that we've got to face. Is some kind of like big issues here that are stopping you or keeping your truth in hiding. Keeping who you are and what you really want in hiding. You can't see straight. You can't see straight. I'm hearing some of you guys are going to need some time to figure out who you are and who you aren't because of masculine energy that you took on. That some of you guys have felt dominated by this masculine energy, and some of you guys have, it's just become ingrained in who you are and how you move, and how you manifest in such a way that it breeds what I'm saying is that Ace of Cups, 5 of Cups, it breeds some kind of love that you don't want. It breeds some kind of emotional situation or fulfillment that's actually not what you want, but you keep saying yes to. This is like saying yes when you want to say no. This is like doing things that attract the wrong energy. This is just complying to things that you don't actually mean or want to comply to. But it's somehow deeply ingrained in you. That's the rocks in your flow state. That's the rocks in your rhythm. And probably has to do with indoctrination for some of you, a masculine connection or a father or something. But I'm hearing someone's not nearly as mean as you think, you just need to love them harder. So there is this concept of if I just love them more, if I just love them harder, I'll get what I need from this, or I'll make the situation better. I'll fix it. It'll be fixed. I just gotta love them some more. So maybe this Empress energy, the challenge with it is giving too much. But not, again, I'm being redirected to what I said about the responsibility versus accountability. There's some kind of shame and accountability here where it's like you take accountability with an angle. Because the shame is, you feel shameful for things that are merely part of mindset work. Even thinking this about myself, it makes me wrong and bad, and I'm the problem. So you avoid an aspect of the mindset work that's actually going to reveal the real path, the truth, the thing that's making things way harder than it needs to be. So is it that you're not confident when these things come up, or is it that you're fighting to live the frustrating path because that's the only way you see it? You've done it for so long. Or is it because you can't let go of this idea of who a person could be? Oof. That part. We're on 15 minutes. The devil card is number 15. Because you can't let go of who this person could be. And so you shift the way you behave or you work with them. You're more lenient in a situation where you shouldn't be. You allow things that build up beneath the surface, your resentment. And it creates more disturbances for you. And it could be other people too. But for some reason, this is the safe path. This has been the safe path. So some of you guys are being pushed on a path that it looks like a racetrack, or it looks like something that's unsafe. Some of you guys, this process of emotional fulfillment is coming from taking risks. Take this as this resonates, because this isn't going to be everybody's case. Some of you guys are going to be needing to sit still more because you are. you move too quickly, okay, and so you're not feeling enough feelings. You just move too quickly. You could be running on emotion a lot, and so you're being forced to kind of work through fire energy and develop more of your passion through finding stillness to feel those emotions that you've been running from. For others, this is about getting out of being too stable, too anchored in one way of being, in order to reignite that passion. So either way, there's going to be more fire energy coming through. For some of you guys, this is going to be more frustrating than others. I guess some of you guys are going to have a hard time with the fire energy here. Some of you guys are learning how to work with people around you as well. Demanding certain things has presented some form of stability. So this would be those of you who are more anchored. Demanding certain things has created a path of stability for you, but it has restricted things that maybe you couldn't see, and you're starting to see them. So you're being asked to work with people more, to be more open to other people's sides of things and perspectives around things, to open your eyes to more angles of how life is for other people who aren't you. It's expanding your awareness. So while some might be expanding their awareness of themselves and their emotional body and their experiences, others might be expanding their awareness of the world around them. And we had to break you out of wherever you had been and whatever path you've been on, because it got too it got too stable in a changing world. You could not stay on that path any longer because there's too many people and things changing around you. It wouldn't have lasted any way you look at it. So if you have been placing blame on someone outside of yourself for the path changing, this is a time to step back and see how it wouldn't have stayed the same, whether that person changed or not. There was too many other things changing as well. There's something about, there's so much change happening around you right now. You cannot force this path to continue any longer. There would have been something that disrupted it. Anything else for this collective here? Final thing. There's a karmic energy in your nature. That again, this really relates to a father wound, an emperor, a king of pentacles. There's something around the way that you access stability that is so deeply rooted in some form of either poverty or abandonment or both. And this is very karmic in your own energy, in your own nature, in your own way of being, so much so that you feel to blame is what I'm hearing, or you feel like everything's your fault or you're responsible for everything. This is rooted in some form of masculine energy that has been there for a long time. So while no, this is not all your fault, this didn't start with you. There is something around accountability that just keeps coming back to shame. That's why there's something around responsibility. When it comes to sitting with the emotions, when it comes to sitting with what it is that you've been ignoring, it's gonna eat at you before you finally do it, because it feels like this collective has like put this thing on the back burner for so long. It's gonna eat on you. It's gonna eat at you. It's gonna like drive you insane to sit with it and feel it in its fullness. But it's also going to free you. There's freedom in the truth. I'm hearing, and that's the coldest lie I ever told. So it's funny that that comes up after I say that, because I feel like this could actually be about a lie that was told that bound you to something. Take that as that resonates. But it feels like there's something that went cold at some point. And it's funny that that came through the channel right after I said the truth will set you free. And that's the coldest lie I ever told. There's something highly paradoxical about the situation. Freeing yourself means devastation, or freeing yourself means trauma, but in reality, freeing yourself means freedom and liberation as well. So what are you imagining? This is your job. This is the final part of this. What are you imagining is going to happen when the truth presents itself? I would write a pro and con list. What is the worst that could happen? And why is that so bad? I would even ask myself, and if there's not a lie here, if this is more about the next steps, and you're like housing situation, something, they're being alone, there's something about writing a pro and con list. What is the worst that can happen? But if there's specifically, I'm getting directed to channel this, if there is a lie coming up that you've told that is like eating at you and it is like too much for you to handle, this is specifically for you. Write a pro and con list about what's the worst thing that could happen if you told that truth. Would it really devastate you, or would you access freedom in a way that you... Is freedom a dry desert? Is freedom a new beginning when you thought you were ready to lay down and die? And I don't mean actually lay down and die, but settle. Is freedom a complete escape from the reality you've been bound to? I mean, for some of you guys, those are the questions you need to ask yourself. And is it really that scary and bad? Is freedom a release from some form of stature, role, title? And is it really that bad? What is the worst that can happen? Because there's an Ace of Cups here, ready to be gained from this. So whether you see it or not, this is actually way more fulfilling for you than the alternative of where you've been, continuing on that. but something about practicality, logicality in the situation, what makes sense. Is what is driving you away from this. It's like, but that doesn't make sense. But doesn't it? There's almost a need to kind of see outside of your current situation because you've lost sight of what's going on around you and the change that's happening around you in some way. And because you've lost sight of that change that's happening around you, you're on a path that's going nowhere, but you don't see it as going nowhere because that was a sturdy path a year or 2 years, 10 years ago. But now it's not. So there could be literally just avoidance in the current events and how things are changing. But regardless, there's freedom in this. So there's no reason to be afraid of this. But there's a lot of fear here. There's a lot of shame and or fear. So that is where your work lies. Take care, guys. Good luck. And if you need assistance with this process, link in bio for my website. See you guys next time.